We're going to start our ceremony to bring up some teachers and staff members to talk about our students. And we are going to start off. Where'd he go? Oh, there he is. We're going to start off with the awesome Mr. Stewart, who is going to talk about Jack Bona.
All right, so this is Jack Bona. Jack is a great student in and out of class. For as great of a student he is, he's an even better person. Jack is always kind to his classmates and very quick to lend a helping hand. He's the type of person that always encourages his classmates and his teammates on the baseball field and helps bring the best out of them. I've noticed this behavior in the class, in the hallways, and also on the baseball diamond. What is most special about Jack is his heart for others. This is evident in class on a daily basis. In class, Jack always comes with great joy and energy, even on days when the class activity in PE is a workout or something that he wouldn't choose. He'll always say, Coach Stu, what are we doing today? And I'll tell him. Sometimes he's like, oh, all right, let's do this. It's the type of thing where, I may not want to do this, but I'm going to give my best effort towards it. And that type of attitude and hard work is contagious to the rest of his classmates. He is always willing to help set up or put equipment away. He always listens attentively to instructions and then completes the workout or activity with maximum effort. He's not afraid to ask clarifying questions. He's not afraid to work with other students happily. I guarantee that if you ask his other teachers, coaches, or classmates, they would say the same exact thing about him. At LHS, Jack is a catcher on the freshman baseball squad. He also plays for the Illinois Lightning in the offseason. Baseball is definitely one of his main passions. He's been playing baseball since he was 5 years old. Aside from baseball, Jack shows his passion for lifelong health and well-being by going to the center club with his friends on a pretty regular basis, whether it be lifting weights or working out or playing a game of pickup basketball. He loves going to the center club, and he also enjoys playing golf as well. One of Jack's favorite things to do is go down to Florida where he vacations. His grandparents live down there. And a typical day, he said that he'll wake up at about 5 a.m., go for a walk with his grandpa, and then after that, he'll go with his cousins fishing on the Gulf of Mexico, and then they'll end the day with a round of golf. And that sounds like an awesome day to me, for sure. I'm very proud to nominate Jack Bona for Freshman PE True Wildcat Award. Way to go, Jack.
Thank you, Coach Stu.
You're welcome.
Jack, I need to talk to you afterwards because when Superintendent Lee calls me, sometimes I'm like, oh boy, but I got to pick up the phone call. So you know how to muscle through it, and you're going to teach me how to muscle through it too, all right? All right, our next, we've got to move here to Mrs. Sauerland and the awesome Mrs. Sauerland and awesome Mrs. Jones, because they're going to talk about Joseph Mallard, who is our true Wildcat photographer. So we need you to go next so you can take everybody's pictures after this, all right? All right, so Mrs. Sauerland and Mrs. Jones. You tell everybody else. Right.
Sorry, we both wrote something. Okay. So this is Joseph. He's been our photographer since he was a sophomore. Can you hear me? Is this okay? Okay. So this is the part I wrote, Joseph. If I could capture Joseph Mallard in one word, it would be photographer. P, personable. Joseph loves to get to know you. H, hilarious. I most enjoy after a language teacher presents, he asks the student and teacher to say cheese in the language that the student is learning. O, outgoing. He is part of many clubs here at LHS and is on the Special Olympics team. T, thoughtful. He will always ask how you're doing and how your day's been going. O, Optimistic. Joseph always looks on the bright side of things. G, grateful. He's always thankful for your help. And you like to give help to others. R, reliable. It's a rare thing for Joseph to miss a true Wildcat ceremony. P, passionate. As Mrs. Jones wrote, which you'll hear in a minute, Joseph is very passionate about photography, and he loves to share that passion with others. I'm sure some of you got your photos snapped already. H, hardworking. As Student of the Month has become the true Wildcat Award, Joseph has also changed. Taking photos for the ceremony didn't always come easy, but Joseph has worked hard to develop his photography skills. E, effervescent, meaning resilient. As a sophomore, he was nervous to start photographing true Wildcat ceremonies, but he followed through to achieve his goals. R, ready. Joseph is ready to face whatever challenges lie next. And this is what Mrs. Jones has to say. What is a true Wildcat in my eyes? It is someone with a big heart, someone who never stops trying, even when things are hard, someone who never stops learning, and more importantly, wants to learn. It is someone who makes a person's day better just by being in it. Joseph Mallard, pronounced Joseph's words, like the duck Mallard, is all of that to me. He may not love learning math, English, or geography, but when it comes to his passion of photography, he wants to learn. He wants to be better and never stops trying. I worked with Joseph last school year as a photographer for True Wildcat. He viewed it as a job, one he reminded me that he didn't get paid for. If he was stuck late in class or needed to leave the program early to catch the bus, he was always so apologetic and truly disappointed that he didn't get to be here for the whole time. The big-hearted part of Joseph can also be seen through his lens of photography. He loves taking pictures of people to make those people feel good. A second after he snaps the shot of you, he is likely to ask for your email. He always wants to share the love and is quick to share our pictures with us to make us feel special. Joseph made my True Wildcat Fridays last year a true treat, and the Mondays that we worked together on editing so much fun. Last year, when I mentioned that I didn't know what I would do without him as he graduated, he gave me a hug when I teared up a bit. Little did I know that I'd be moving on to a new position within the district this school year, and I can tell you our photography partnership is one of the things I missed most. Congratulations on your true Wildcat accomplishment. You deserve it. You're welcome, Joseph.
Joseph was on my prom bus, and we were getting ready to leave, and we're like, where is Joseph? So I had to go back in, and he was taking everybody's photos and getting their email addresses so he could then email them the pictures. That's the type of student that he is. All right, so we are going to bring up the increíble Miss Getch, who is going to talk about Calista Dunworth.
Maybe he did. So it's my very great honor to nominate Calista this year for the True Wildcat Award. She is a student in my Spanish 2 class in second hour, and I love so much the energy and joy she brings to every single day in class. She is, her view of the world and her unique perspective is one that it makes me grin from ear to ear. She is a master storyteller. She has lots of stories about all kinds of things, and she fits them right in, and we love hearing them. She loves her Spanish, and man, she is precise. She will catch an error even when I write it on the board to point it out. But she is such a hard worker, and we work in groups. We change groups all the time, which can be hard for some students, and she goes with the flow. We're working all the time in speaking, and that can be hard for kids, and Calista just digs right in. And I noticed at first she wasn't too crazy about the speaking part, but over the course of this year, she has grown so much, and I have seen her work really hard on that, and I have been very proud of it. So I see the effort she puts in, and I know that she can do that in all aspects of her life, and I'm so excited to see as she grows here at LHS over the next 3 years and see where life takes her. She has a real passion for the environment. She's involved with LEAF, and and I talked once, she's interested in the National Park Service, and she has a bearded dragon at home, so we talk a lot about those things. And so I don't know where life's gonna take her, what her profession will be, but I know she is gonna be a firecracker, whatever she does. So I just feel really, really lucky to have her in my class this year, and I can't wait to see where life takes her. You wanna go?
Calista, I have a bearded dragon at my house too, except I don't know where he is because he got out of his cage and haven't seen him in about 2 years, but he's somewhere in my house. All right, so let's move forward, and we've got the just amazing Miss Owens. She has nominated 2 students today. Do we want to bring them up at the same time or one at a time? Okay, one at a time. So let's start with Jacob Kemp. Come on down.
Okay, I cheated a little bit by nominating 2, but I couldn't help it because, well, you'll hear why in just a minute. I have 2 amazing, amazing kids. So I'll start with Jacob, and I'm going to have to just read what I wrote because it's a little bit easier for me. So I'm happy to recommend Jacob Kemp for the True Wildcat Award. I am the Caring for Cambodia sponsor. And I've known Jacob as a club member and a leader for the past 3 years. I unfortunately have not ever had the privilege of having him in class. And he's graduating, so this is my last chance to get him and to really recognize him. I cannot say enough about Jacob's character. When I think of him, I think of the qualities diligent, driven, kind, passionate, dedicated, sincere, motivated, leader, selfless, among many, many others. Jacob's impact on people is visible. He is the type of person who leaves literally every single person he comes in contact with a better person, including me. He is the most community-driven young person I know, and I would be pressed to say maybe I've ever met. I've witnessed Jacob putting the needs of others before himself on countless occasions. Caring for Cambodia Club is a service-oriented club that focuses on completing service projects in Cambodian schools. We fundraise, we do multiple fundraisers throughout the year, and it's really just to promote awareness so that when we go to Cambodia, we can use those funds to build the schools there and make a better life for those kids. Jacob moved to Libertyville his sophomore year, so I didn't know him. He showed up at the club like some kid I didn't know. Great, we have a new kid. He immediately, without knowing anyone at Libertyville, took the initiative to lead committees in the club. Not just be a part, but to lead them. And then he would show up randomly in my classroom. Mrs. Owens, I made this flyer and poster to promote XYZ. I didn't ask him to do that. He thought about it on his own and took the initiative to just do that because that is who Jacob is. His confidence, compassion, and organizational skills command attention and follow through. To take on a leadership role as a new student at a new high school, not knowing anyone, speaks volumes about who he is. I can't say he found his voice coming here, more that he owns his voice. And I lost my place. He has courage to speak out for what he believes in multiple platforms. Jacob's focus is always keeping sight and advocating for those in need. His demeanor, along with his passion for helping others, has made him a strong leader in not only Caring for Cambodia Club, but a leader in our school community as well. In addition to serving as president of CFC, he actively participates in theater productions, advocates the Gay Straight Alliance, and works at, I don't know if do you still work at Rocky Mountain Chocolate Factory? Yes. I mean,
3 years strong.
yeah, I don't know how he does all of that. He manages to balance all these activities and maintain exceptional performance in his classes. I would imagine this type of a lifestyle that you choose to be crazy involved in everything and successful would be really stressful. But I have never seen you without a smile on your face. You are an absolute joy to work with. I am going to miss you dearly next year when you leave, but I know that you are bound for greatness in anything that you choose. So.
All right. We'll bring Miss Owens back in a minute. But in the meantime, let's bring up the awesome Miss Shanebeck, who is going to talk about Andrew Harvey.
Hello, everyone. Like Dr. K just said, my name is Mrs. Shanebeck. And Andrew, you might be a little surprised at this nomination because Andrew is actually a part of my 8th hour class, which is a tad energetic, shall we say. Right, little energetic. And admittedly, you know, Andrew sometimes catches that energy, and it's a fun class. But what Andrew might not realize entirely is the kind of impact that he makes on people around him, including me, his old English teacher. And that's where my story about Andrew comes in. So a few weeks ago, Andrew came into my classroom, set up a meeting during both of our lunch hours to go over a writing assignment to improve his grade. And that, to me, is reason enough to nominate you. The fact that, you know, a student is seeking out help from me to improve their writing, to become a better writer, you know, that enough is, a reason to nominate you. But that's not actually the reason I'm here entirely. The reason I am nominating Andrew came about halfway through that meeting. He quietly asked, "Hey, Mrs. Shanebeck, I have something I have to pick up at the front desk. Can I leave and come back?" And I was a little confused. I was like, "Sure, okay." And so he excused himself, and a few minutes went by, and then a few more went by, and I'm kind of looking at my watch, and I'm getting a little worried because, after all, business needs to be taken care of, and we had a writing meeting. And about 10 minutes went by, and I looked up, and Andrew re-entered the room with 2 pizzas in his hand and a bottle of Coke. And I said, "What's that?" And I was like stunned. And he goes, "Lunch." And I go, "For who?" And he looks at me with a big smile on his face and says, "For us." I was flabbergasted, is the appropriate word. I kind of shook my head, and as it sank into me that he had brought his English teacher during her lunch hour lunch, and he had thought of me in that meeting. And I really want you to understand, I'm not nominating you because you bought me pizza. Okay. But, doesn't hurt. But what Andrew doesn't know, and what I haven't expressed to Andrew until this moment, is what a few slices of pizza really meant to me that day. I hadn't eaten lunch, and he recognized that during that meeting I might enjoy a bite of something. And he was so genuine in his generosity. He offered me as much as I wanted before even taking a slice for himself. And that's what I admire so much about Andrew. He encompasses the A of our daring mission, which is being aware of others and looking to positively impact other people around him. He truly brought me joy that afternoon. I talked about him at dinner. I talked about him with my parents when we visited on Sunday. He was the feature of our conversation over the weekend. And what he made me realize that afternoon is that while writing is important, our meeting didn't all have to be about business. Sometimes it can be just about sharing a slice of pizza and about the gesture you extend to someone on a day when she needs it most. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for that pizza, but also just being you. Appreciate it.
Funny story. I saw Andrew today at the front desk, and he was picking up some food, and I was like, "What's for lunch?" And he's like, "I've got barbecue." And I'm like, "What about me?" And now I realize he was probably going to go share that with somebody else. And so you are forgiven. There we go. Yes, absolutely. I also like the father-son shirt outfits. They're color coordinated. That's good. All right. All right. Miss Owens, you ready to come back up and talk about Bobby Calieris? All right.
Gotta lower this. All right. Bobby is a standout student in my biology class. I didn't mention before I'm a science teacher, and I have Bobby in my freshman bio class. He has a great attitude, asks great questions, always participates. He's a stellar student. He has an amazing grade. And he's very sweet. He's active in the school. But man, when I think about Bobby, I think about his questions. He challenges me all the time by asking these amazing thought-provoking questions that he doesn't come up with these in class. I'm pretty sure he's thinking about them at night and all the time. So, which is fantastic. I love it. So first semester of this year, I'm trying an experiment in my bio classes, and we're doing a daring passion project. Ultimately, the goal is to design a product or plan that can be implemented to help fix an issue in our environment. I'm wanting to challenge my classes to make a difference, and hoping to Shark Tank it out. So the students were challenged to discuss their passions for the outdoors and cohesively agree on a topic. Needless to say, Bobby is very passionate about the environment and specifically protecting his love of fishing, which he expressed right out of the gate. He has been pushing for that in our class the entire year. He's also passionate about like anything related to fishing's local aquatic ecosystems, global ecosystems. He independently, so the students have to come up with their own passions, and they're going to be working it out because as a class we have to decide on one topic. He independently, on his own, created a PowerPoint presentation to sell our class on his idea of how we can protect the Great Lakes from the invasion of Asian carp. And he did it like weeks ago. And then on Fridays, you know, we're supposed to be doing this on Fridays, and sometimes I give quizzes, and I don't always hit the daring part on Friday. And Bobby's, Mrs. Owens, are we going to do daring today? He's like, made this presentation. He emailed it to me. Can you check out my presentation? And I'll get to it, Bobby, when we do daring next Friday. And he just is really gung-ho about it. He is knowledgeable, and I know I said it's a passion project, and he's passionate, but he is driven, passionate about this topic. I am so impressed with your initiative to go above and beyond. Bobby's attitude, he has a positive attitude, and it is contagious. We teachers know it really only takes one kid to bring down a class, but it also only takes one to lift it up. And Bobby is that, I'm going to lift this class up every day. He comes in, he's excited to be there. Mrs. Owens, what are we going to talk about today? And it lifts my class and makes me excited to be there. So I'm excited to see where our Daring Class project goes, and I am absolutely confident it's going to be a huge success, largely because of Bobby's ideas, contributions, and action. And that's where his future is going to be. So that is why I've chosen to nominate you, Bobby. So congratulations.
I know Bobby is a water polo player, but it sounds like our bass fishing team could be a good place for him as well. He's got options. All right, we are going to bring down the incredible Mr. Thompson. And Mr. Thompson, let's talk about your first student, Cameron.
They both want to come together.
They're both coming together. All right.
They made that choice.
All right. All right, so Cameron Giles and Grace Bonjour, come on down.
I asked them if they want to go up separately or together, and there wasn't even a question. They said, we want to do this together. It works out that they're actually in the same class as well, so it even works out better. Cameron was nominated last month, but unfortunately she thought that her college entrance exam was more important than this. But I guess your mom made the decision for you, right? No. One thing I want to say about both these girls, so I want to talk a little bit about both of them first, is they're both in my engineering class, and the only two girls in the class, which tends to be very normal for engineering in the field. I was talking to an engineer who's a woman. She said she was in a meeting with 12 guys and herself. So this is something that's not going to be uncommon for you in the future if you continue in the field. But they're both not afraid to speak their mind, to tell anybody in the room that their idea is better than theirs, the other one. So they're very tough. It was interesting listening to I sat at that table first, then I moved over here, and what was interesting is both their parents said they're tough, or grit, very tough. And I would say, I didn't write that in my thing, but I would say I'd like to add that. So if you could pencil that in next to it, that'd be great. They're very tough girls, but the biggest thing is they both come in every day smiling. Always come in, say hi, Mr. Thompson. And not all the kids do that. I'm not always chipper in the morning, but they're very, very happy, always excited to be there. But I would definitely say tough. Then I'm going to talk about Cameron. Cameron is in actually 2 of my classes. And like she said today to me, I'm going to get to see you 3 times today. So I could have nominated her just for putting up with me for 2 periods a day, but that wasn't the only reason. Some of the other reasons are the software that we use. She's actually in my architecture class too. The other classes she's in architecture, and that's the career she's looking to pursue, which I have no doubt in my mind she will be successful if she does continue in that area. But the software we use is not easy software to learn. In the engineering area, we use Inventor. In the architecture, we use AutoCAD, which is the professional software that they use in the industry. So it's not simple software. And she has had no problem learning the software. And that's 2 software, basically 2 periods away. She goes, first period she's with me, then she goes to accounting, then she comes back 3rd period. So she's using the software very regularly, quite often. And she's outstanding at it. Architecture, I can definitely see that's a love of hers, because she's really interested in doing it, and very creative. We're doing, the class that I have is the best class I've ever had. I had to make new curriculum because we got through all the curriculum with 4 weeks to go in this semester, so I had to come up with new stuff to do. And she's had no problem figuring it out, and exceeded my expectations. And that's why the many reasons that I nominated Cameron for not Student of the Month, it's True Wildcat now. Then Grace, another one, very, very good problem solver. They're working on, they're going to be doing a new project real soon where they're changing the design of something and making it better, and then having other students vote on it. And I'm looking forward to see what her and her partner come up with, because I have a feeling that probably the creativity is going to probably come from her, is most likely, because that's one thing that she really does excel at. And just the way she's able to enjoy. She seems to really enjoy the class and enjoy what she's doing in there. And engineering seems to be something that's a passion of hers. And I'm looking forward to seeing her continue in the field. Hopefully I get to see her next year in class. Cameron, I don't want to see you next year, because hopefully you'll be in college, right? But both these young ladies have been a thrill and a joy for me to have in class. And I look forward to seeing what the future holds for them. So congratulations, ladies.
Mr. Thompson, you can tell your engineering friend that when she was in the boardroom with 12 men and 1 woman, there's 2 more great engineers on the way. All right, so we had Andrew Harvey, but we're going to bring up Matt Harvey with the extraordinary Mr. Ness. Come on down.
Right on the X. All right, I'm Mr. Ness. I'm the guitar instructor here. This is Matt Harvey. I'm not going to read what I wrote. You can read that later. I'm going to improvise like the jazz musician I am. I asked Matt how long, or how embarrassing did he want it, and he said short and sweet. So I'll try to keep it to that. You got to hear Matt actually at the beginning. He played in the guitar ensemble. So he's been in my guitar 1 class, guitar 2 class, and guitar ensemble. He's now a junior, so at least we have him 1 more year. He's in jazz ensemble, and he's going to play in the musical next year also. And he's also just a really kind guy. And, a couple years ago when you were in the class, he was in a class with his older brother. And that's kind of when I found out I think the Harvey family, how nice they are. Because they even would sit next to each other. And I know I wouldn't have sat next to my brother in high school. And they were kind to each other. And he's now kind to everyone in the ensemble, and he's kind of a leader. And basically the gist of what I put in my writing is that he is a great student. I know he's going to take a bunch of AP classes next year. He was talking about that with me, and he's very smart, and he gets good grades. He hands everything in on time. But that's actually not the part that really strikes me. It's one of our elements of daring is inquisitive. And he often just asks questions and works on things way beyond whatever the assignments of the class, are. And that's what really strikes me about Matt. It's not easy to learn an instrument if you haven't played an instrument before. And Matt particularly likes jazz, which really is challenging. It's very theoretical, very technical. And I know he goes and practices things all the time and comes back and is working on all these things that I did not assign. Every day he's asking me some questions. So that's why I love teaching students like Matt. And he's going to be highly successful in life just with his attitude and his inquisitive nature. Thank you, Matt.
All right, we're going to keep it moving, and we will bring down, we have a first here. We have a true Wildcat first. We have a student who is nominated by 2 different teachers at the same time. So we'll bring down the wonderful Mrs. Aman and Mr. Wyzorek to talk about Ella Basico. Come on down. So we had one teacher nominate 2 students. Now we have 1 student nominated by twice. There you go.
All right, I'll go first. Hello, everybody. All right, I am lucky, very lucky, to have Ella in my health education class. And it's just a semester class, so I've gotten the chance to know her over a short period of time. And it was interesting because they nominated her first, and then when I sent the email, I was like, Ella. And they're like, yeah, she's been nominated by math. I'm like, I don't care. I'm like, I'm joining in on that one. So she's really stood out to me. Mainly just she sits in the front row, right, and she's got this personality that is just contagious, but she's got some other awesome things about her that I'm going to read about. So she's a student who puts maximum effort into everything, and her attention to detail is just huge. Every assignment, everything we do in class, from notes to like, when are you going to do this? When are you going to give me this? When is this study guide going to be posted? Like, she's on top of things, especially if I'm not on top of it. I mean, like, I can count on her to let me know, like, she's ready for more, which is awesome. She's a joy to have in class. She has such a positive attitude. It's contagious. Her smile is contagious. Look at her. Like, look at this. It's just contagious. She puts a smile on my face. So that personality, like, you could come and walk into any room and she's going to turn your day from maybe upside down to right side up. So that's awesome. The best part is if she is like unsure about assignment, she has like a question, she is such a good advocate for herself. And I think that is maybe the number one thing that I like about her is that she is not afraid to like, I don't get it, explain it to me, I'm lost, I need help. And as a freshman, that's huge. As a student altogether, as an adult, as anyone, that's just a huge aspect to have in life. And it's standing out already, and it stood out over the last semester of getting to know her, and I love that. I mean, we beg for that out of our students, you know, to reach out, to ask for help, to search for more. So that's huge. And I feel like because of that, because of those other features that I said, because of her work ethic, and just her ability, like I said, to advocate for herself, to take care of herself, to know what she needs to make herself successful, she is
she's going to do some good things in life. She's going to go pretty far. So that's Ella.
First of all, we had no communication about who we were going to nominate, so I think that deserves just a round of applause in general. The fact that we could have picked from anybody and both of us chose you, I mean, that just speaks to your character, I think, in general. Ella's in my first period Algebra 1 class, and I think the first thing is it's very early. It's very early in the morning, or I guess not as early as it would have been in the past, but at 8:45 in the morning, I don't think a lot of us when we were in high school could have said we wanted to solve for X. And she comes to class with a positive attitude every day, ready to do math. She's extremely optimistic. She walks in with a smile every single day in our class, and I think that really just fosters a really positive classroom environment. We have a lot of fun in there, and you're one of the reasons. As you sit in front row in Joyce's class, you sit in the front row in my class, you're always willing to offer your insight into problems. As soon as I ask a question, she's got her hand up ready to go in the air. If I have a mistake on my answer key, she's got it covered for me, which is really, really, I appreciate that. I appreciate the effort that you bring into class. If I hold a review session, she's there after school. She's there in the morning. She wants to be the best student she can possibly be. And these are all great qualities, and I think one of the main reasons I nominated Ella for this award is because she is really willing to help the struggling students that are in our class. And I have students set up into pods of 4, and we'll do a lot of group work during the week. And she's always the one who's willing to not just get ahead on her own work. She doesn't have to rush through the assignment to make sure that she gets it done so she doesn't have homework at night. She's willing to sit and actually work with the person sitting next to her if they're struggling, the person across from her if they're struggling, and she doesn't view it as a bother. She views it as actually something that she enjoys to do, and she actually is so patient with the students in her class, in her table, throughout the classroom. And on a separate note, we played badminton the other day in the student staff badminton competition. I could not serve to save my life. She was so patient with me when I couldn't get my birdie over the net. Made it so much more fun to experience. And so it's that patience that you bring in the classroom, that patience that you bring on the badminton court. She told me she's going to Cambodia this summer to help people as well. I mean, you're such a well-rounded student, and you're having such a big impact on the Wildcat community. You're only a freshman. She's only a freshman. So I'm really excited to see where the next 3 years take you, where life takes you. And I think one thing I was thinking about is being a teacher is really enjoyable, but it's more enjoyable when we get to teach students like you. And you're a really nice reminder of why I'm glad I went into this profession. So, well done. The sky is the limit for you.
All right. So we are going to bring down the extraordinary Mr. Rohde to talk about Veronica Bond. Come on down.
I don't need this, do I? Use my coaching voice. So this is what I wrote quickly, and then I'll speak off the cuff because Veronica's incredibly likable by staff and peers. She moved into town 2 years ago, and while we were sitting back there, actually, she waved to at least 5 people walking by during the course of a presentation because she knows a lot of people because she's a very affable human being. She's on my caseload and also my math class, so I see her twice a day. I see her the 6th period and I see her 8th period. She sits in front of the room for my math class, pays close attention during class, and is almost like a teaching assistant in the way that she stays on top of the material in class and is a positive force, which helps keep others engaged in the class as well. Her attendance and promptness to her classes this semester has been great, and she's willing to take on difficult tasks and seek the help she needs to get her assignments done. Oh yeah, she's pretty funny too. If I have a couple quotes, two of my favorite quotes of all time are from Veronica, which I'll probably save up. I'll remember these quotes and use them and when I retire. And at the retirement speech someday, I'll be quoting Veronica Bond. I've seen her in conflict twice this year, and she's been great at letting bygones be bygones and not getting defensive, and then learning from her experiences and growing as a person. And no matter, the nice part about having Veronica 8th is that no matter what my day has been like, Veronica's attitude and personality leaves me on a high note. at the end of just about every day that I've taught this year. Veronica Bond, ladies and gentlemen.
I went to Mr. Rohde's math class, and I tried to sit as far in the back as I could, and Veronica was right up front and center answering all the questions, so it was awesome. Last student here is a student that always talks to me and checks in. That's Dragan Martinov, and we're going to have Mr. Schrader, Miss Kelly, and Miss Price, 3 awesome teachers from the LST coming to talk about Dragan. Come on down.
We're so excited and proud of Dragan. We wanted to bring a small team here to celebrate him. So I am going to read some comments. The 3 of us, along with others. Hi, Mr. Thornton. How are you? Dragan's a social worker. We've all kind of worked on this. And then we all have a little piece here as well. It's an honor to nominate Dragan Martinov for the True Wildcat Award. We have seen Dragan grow since first semester freshman year. He came into high school as a quiet and reserved young man. We have seen him flourish this year both academically and socially. Dragan is an amazing self-advocate and challenges himself to grow by seeking new experiences. Dragan, like a lot of our students, has faced some hurdles, but he has worked to overcome them. He has not let these challenges stop him. Not only is Dragan a wonderful example of resilience and growth, he is developing into a more driven and dedicated student, working hard to finish his freshman year on a positive note. It has been our pleasure to get to know him this past semester. Dragan is a personable young man with an excellent sense of humor and is well liked by everyone. He has a contagious smile which is appreciated by adults and peers alike. And Dragan is also a bright young man who is genuine, respectful, and willing to help others. We are confident he will be successful in future endeavors and as he goes through his high school career. So, good job. Now, I want to introduce Sarah Kelly, who's going to read a couple teacher comments.
So we asked for some teacher comments in addition to what we see in the LST for Dragan. So his math teachers had shared, Dragan always asks inquisitive questions, clearly loves learning. He is a rock star in Algebra 1 and very deserving of this recognition of the true Wildcat. His English teacher then shared that Dragan does wonderful work in freshman English. He is devoted to academics and prides himself on his achievements. He is a class leader of ours, sets a positive tone for our class every day. He is personable, funny, and makes the classroom a better place. He is truly worthy of this award. And Mrs. Price is going to share her own experience.
Hello. I have a little hard time sharing with Miss Thornton because she takes him away from me. We are good friends and we both really enjoy working with Dragan. Dragan is a kind, sensitive, hardworking young man who loves learning and brings a strong work ethic to class every day. He is a self-advocate who will seek out help and support from teachers and staff when he needs it or has a concern. Dragan is working hard to develop friendships at LHS and has joined some clubs to facilitate this, especially clubs where he can be kind to other people, right? Yes. He is always willing to help others out in his class and tutorial. Dragan has a tendency to worry about others and always wants to help those having a difficult time. He is working on taking care of himself too. He has his priorities in the right order. Kindness first, and then academics. Like other students, he enjoys technology, but when he is in the company of others, he prefers to speak with them the old-fashioned way, face-to-face, instead of communicating digitally all the time. For those and other reasons, Dragan truly deserves to be a true Wildcat. Good for you. Nice job. You deserve it.
Well, when it's a ceremony like this, you see why whenever I get together with all my principal friends and they brag about their schools, I always have the trump card that I have the true Wildcats. And I think they always agree, like, wow, this is an extraordinary place. And what we talk about is students, there's a famous writer, Maya Angelou, and she said that people will seldom remember what you say, and they'll seldom remember what you do, but they will never forget how you make them feel. And that's what you guys do. You make this school and everybody in it feel great.